We would like to extend a very warm welcome to Koko Kondo, who has been a Japan Women's Conference keynote speaker with us before. Koko Kondo, a Hiroshima survivor, is an important advocate for peace and healing in our world today.
After the World War II, it's already 76 years past. But still, we have many bombs in this world. Abolishing of any kind of nuclear war, nuclear weapons from this world. That's my hope, and that's my dream. For 76 years, many survivors asked for the abolition of the nuclear weapons. We have to, work together to do that. 1945, August 6th, that day was a very, very clear day. And air raid was off, so that means people start going out. My father is a minister in Hiroshima, and his church located about 700 meters away from Ground Zero. And parsonage was located about 1.1 kilometers away from Ground Zero. That morning, my father had to get out and help other people, so he wasn't at our house. One of the church members visited us, so my mother decided. I was only an 8-month-old baby, so she picked me up. She held me in her arms. Then this lady and my mother started talking to each other. Then suddenly, the whole house crashed. I knew I was able to survive, but I never asked my parents how I survived, because if I ask, they have to recall the most difficult day of their lives. But I listened to his speech, or I read some of his article or books. So that's how I found out. When I was 40 years old, my mother said, "Koko, I have to tell you in person." We sat on the couch. She started telling me. After this whole house crashed, that means everything came top of her head. So her consciousness was gone. And back again, it's going, on several times. According to her, at first, she heard the baby's crying voice. "Oh, somebody's baby is crying." Actually, later she found out it wasn't somebody. It was her baby. Me was crying at first. When, the consciousness came back, she realized it's no light, nothing, just dark, because whole house was crashed. Then she was able to see the small light coming through the roof. And she was carrying little baby Coco. But Coco didn't have any strength because her body weight was top of that 8-month-old baby. So she was, I couldn't, breathe properly. Of course, she's a minister's wife. She believes in God. So she asked for God, for help. God, I don't care about my life. I'm not worried about my life. But, God, please help my daughter to live through it. After she gave a prayer, she decided she had to ask somebody to pull us out. Koko Tanimoto is my name, is here. Please, somebody help. My name is Chisa Tanimoto. I'm here too. Please help us. Help. But no one came. She had to do something, otherwise the Coco is gonna, suffocated. So she decided she had to get out. She was holding me in one arm and the other hand. She tried to make a little hole so Coco can get out. After that, she tried to get out from this, little hole. When she was out, she just couldn't believe it. Fires, smokes, all over the place. And even the fire just came into our house. So we barely made it. As I told you, my father's church was located, very, it's close to the center of the city. I was probably 3 years old or 4. Many children came to church, one by one. Some of about my age. I couldn't understand why those children are coming to church. Well, my mother told me they are orphans. Many of the orphans were able to stay in the orphanage, but just so many of them. Some kids have to sleep or in the corner of the Hiroshima station or like a church, corner of the church. No food. Some orphan told me if they found a newspaper, they put the water on the newspaper, then eat. That's all they can do. My father was so concerned about those children. 1 year or a year and a half after the disaster, since he educated in the United States, after Kansei Gakuin University, and he graduated from there, became a minister, then he got a scholarship to go to the United States, to Emory University, Kendall School of Theology. So, this was, of course, before the war, but since all the friends found out, read the John Hart's Hiroshima, and find out that the Kiyoshi was still alive in Hiroshima. So they supported, many people helped him. I went to the United States for lecture tour. He was in the States for 15 months and came back to Japan for only a few months, then back again. I think together before rebuilt the church. I think 3 trips. And he met Pro Espak. He had many visions, but at first, he just wanted to tell her what he wants to do. Prabhupada said to my father, Reverend Tanimoto, let's start with the children. And at that time, we couldn't do the legal adoption because, the war ended. And so Hiroshima Peace Center in Hiroshima, which my father started, and in New York, Hiroshima Peace Center Associate decided, let's help the children. Since we couldn't do the legal adoption, they started a moral adoption. That means each child has one family in the United States. They send their letters, and then when comes Christmas is coming, I hope, you can have a wonderful Christmas. Or it's getting cold, don't get cold. Or I hope you can make good friends at the school. And so many, the warm letters, which usually the parents write to the child. So that's why they could not read, the children could not read the English letter. That's why they had to come to church to somebody to translate it. Then Prabhupada said, next we should help the young girls who are disfigured. That's what he said. Well, back to my, 4 or 5 years old. One day, however, I'm sorry, there are many teenager, junior high or senior high girls came to church. But at first, I could not see their faces because some girls, could not close because it's all melted. Some girls could not close the mouth, all melted. I couldn't understand what's happened to those girls. But I didn't ask them, because if I ask, they have to recall the most difficult day of their lives. One day, one girl found a nice comb. She combed my hair. I just wanted to see what kind of comb she used. I turned my neck. First thing I saw was her hands, fingers, which hold the comb. All the fingers were melted. Oh my goodness, what's happened? But I didn't ask them because it's not a nice thing to ask. But I listening to their conversation very well. They talk to each other, what's happened. Some girl said, it's because of I am so disfigured. So my fiance said, let's call off the engagement. Or some girl said, I had a boyfriend, but it's because of this. Let's, end up a relationship. I heard so many, the things from girls. Then I learned there was only one bomb was dropped in Hiroshima. That's why those girls were disfigured. Little Coco, I thought, I am a good person. I am the right person. So someday I grown up, I am definitely find the people who are on the B-29 Enola Gay. I am going to revenge. I'm going to find them and I'm going to give them a punch or a bite or a kick. That's what I was planning to do. But one problem, I don't want my parents to find out what I was thinking. So I thought, okay, let's put everything deep inside of myself. Because if they found out, probably they will bring a Bible and they will open the many places, and they would say, Coco, that's not the right way to think. So I put everything deep inside of myself. But someday I am definitely want to do that. Because if that one bomb never dropped, in Hiroshima City, many people didn't have to die. Many people got radiation sickness. None. So that's what I want to do. However, right after the bomb was dropped, in Hiroshima people and others, they didn't know anything about the radiation. So they call new typed bomb. That's what they're talking about. 1955. I will never forget. My father took the 25 maidens to the United States because at New York, the hospital called the Mount Sinai Hospital said they are willing to help those girls for plastic surgery, but we can handle only 25 people. So they had to choose 25. They went to the United States. Of course, my father is the person to plan it at first. So he escorted those girls, and through medical doctors, interpreter, and nurse, they went to the United States. But of course, that time is propeller airplane. My mother took us to the airport. We waved, and they left the United States. Next day, my mother received a phone call from the United States. The person said to my mother, Mrs. Tanimoto, please come to the United States tomorrow, but do not tell anyone about this. And especially, please do not tell your husband. My mother didn't know what's going on. So 10 years after the war, United States established the American Culture Center in the big city in Japan. Since my father was educated in the United States, the head of the American Culture Centers, the person, my father was, a good friend. So my mother decided to go to talk to him. He already knew that. And he said to my mother, Mrs. Tanimoto, this is a TV program called This Is Your Life. A very good program. So please go to the United States. In order to catch the airplane the next day, we didn't have any passport. We had to have a passport. At that time, I was a fifth grader, 10 years old. My brother, 7, my sister, 4, my youngest brother was 2. So my mother decided, younger 2 took with her to go to Tokyo to get the passport. My brother and I went to Tokyo by a sleeper train. Something like that. Took 12 hours or so. And my aunt, one of my aunt, escorted us. When I met my mother in Tokyo, she already had a passport. When she went to an information desk, I would like to make a passport. And front desk said, I'm sorry, you cannot make a passport in one day. So my mother have to explain to this lady that, telephone call from the United States in such and such. And she said, oh, just a minute, please. Then somebody, the gentleman, came down to the front desk, said to my mother, Mrs. Tanimoto, we are waiting for you. This is your passport. So passport was already, there. As a fifth grader, I thought, my goodness, only one day and, passport is ready. And I thought, oh boy, United States probably pushed to Japan to get the passport for this family. And the power of the United States, I was really felt deep inside. We got a passport, so we went to the United States. But of course, it's propeller plane. We have to put the fuel on the Hawaii. We have to fly in next island, another fuel. Finally arrived in LA. In Hollywood, we stayed a few days in a hotel. The day came, I would never forget, May 11th, 1955. Big audience hall, big hall and many audience. And at first I stand on the one corner. I was able to meet 3 persons. Probably they are going to be on the show. And one person, this is my father's best friend from Emory. Oh, Dr. Green is here. I was happy because I know him. I met him. The next was Miss Starkey. She was a missionary who were in Japan, taught English to many schools. I know her too. I was very happy to see them, even in the distance. But third person, I never met him before. Curious 5th grader. I asked my mother, Mother, who's that guy over there? My mother didn't tell me right away. Later, I found out she had a very difficult time making decision. Is this okay to tell Coco the real story? Finally, she decided Coco is a 5th grader. She should know what's going on this world. She said, Coco, that person is Captain Robert Lewis, who was a co-pilot of the Enola Gay. I was so shocked since I was a little girl. Someday when I'm grown up, I am going to find them and give them a punch, bite, a kick to revenge. I cannot do anything on the stage. Only thing I can do is just staring at him. You the bad one. I am the good one. If you never ever drop that bomb, people didn't have to die. People didn't have to become, sick. And children didn't have to lose the parents. Or young girls were disfigured. Those things never happened. I just stared at, because I'm not, stupid to go run to the middle of the stage to do the, punch or bite or kick. Ralph Edward, the interviewer, was standing in the middle of two men. One is Reverend Kiyoshi Tanimoto, who is my father. He was in Hiroshima, August 6, 8/15, 1945. Captain Robert Roos, he was on the air, but same time he was there. Two persons met on the show as the first time. They were talking about, the many things, but at that time I could not understand. I could understand only the simple word. Ralph Edward asked the Captain Roos, "How did you feel after you dropped the bomb?" Captain Roos said, 8:15, drop the bomb. Enola Gay have to leave there right away. Yeah, I can understand that, because it's the first time in the whole world the bomb was dropped in the city, which human beings are living there. So they don't know what's going to happen to the airplane. So airplane have to leave. But there are probably another order. They said, United States said to those pilots, please go back to Hiroshima and see the result of whatever they dropped. The airplane came back to Hiroshima. From the airplane, he said, I saw the Hiroshima, but Hiroshima was disappeared. Then he said, I wrote it on my log. My God, what have we done? I was staring at his eye. I saw the tears came down from his eye. I was so shocked. Until that morning, I thought he is the bearer. They're the monster. But monsters had the tears came down. I felt so sorry for him because I didn't know anything about him. But I hated him. I thought they're the bearer. I said to the God, please forgive me. I didn't know anything about this guy, but until this morning, I thought they're the bearer. God, please forgive me. While adults are talking to each other on the stage, it was too difficult to understand. So I looked inside of my heart. Until that moment, I thought I was a good person. I was the right person. But when I saw his tear, oh my goodness, inside of myself, sometimes I will not listen to my parents' words, or they told me not to fight with a younger brother. I fight with my brother. Even I hated him. I myself had a bad evil in myself. I don't have any right to, hate this person whom I don't know anything about him. End of program. TV show. I don't know why I did it. I walked like a crab to, so people cannot see me moving. But, it's obvious they can see me. I just wanted to touch his hand. That's the only way I could show my apologies. He felt little Coco's hand was touching his head. he held my hand very tightly. I learned from him that if I hate, I should not hate this person. I should hate the peoples inside which caused the war. I should hate the war itself, not this person. I'm grateful that I had a chance to meet him. If I never had a chance to meet him, even now I might say they are the button. But God gave me a great opportunity to meet him. When I did go to a college, university education in the United States, one day I thought I would like to see him again, to say the one word, thank you. It's because of you that I changed. But I didn't know where he lives. I asked my father's friends, who became a minister in many places. One person sent me the letter, said, I'm sorry to tell you this. Coco, I don't think you can meet him. He's in hospital. So I did. I came back to Japan, and one day I found out that he passed away. And few years after, one of the doctors showed a sculpture which he made at the hospital. One mushroom cloud, and the tears is coming down from the bomb, from the mushroom cloud. In Hiroshima, we have a cenotaph, and people who died from the atomic bomb and who died from radiation sickness. Each people's name were inside of the big box at the cenotaph. Inscription said, let all the souls here rest in peace, for we shall never repeat the evil. Captain Lewis, please rest in peace. We shall never, I will never repeat that big mistakes we made. since I was a little, I have to go to the ABCC, Atomic Bomb Casualty Commission. I had to be the one of the guinea pig. When I was young, I was more like happy to go there because long day of the checkup, they provide, I think, milk or cookie or something. We didn't have any much food, so I was happy to eat that. But puberty age. One day, I went to the ABCC, have a full checkup, and doctor told me to go into the one room. It was a small auditorium. Before going into the room, I could hear many voices from the inside, different languages. I could tell, oh, this must be a doctor's meeting. I went in there. Doctor told me to be on the stage. That room doesn't have any windows, just one big light was shining toward the stage. Because ABCC is run by U.S. government, the U.S. How shall I say, property, or U.S. organized that place. So every way, American way, whenever I go there, they will provide a nice gown. I had to wear that. Even I have to take off my underwear, they will provide, looks like, little tiny thing, tie in both sides, in one gown, and go to room. But that auditorium, doctor said, Miss Tanimoto, please take off your gown. Puberty age. Why do I have to do this? I'm hibakusha, but I didn't start that war. Why do I have to do that? I looked at the ceiling. God, please help me. Please take me away right away. But he is not listening to my prayer. So I said, okay, in that case, I am just decided. I'm going to leave Hiroshima. I am not going to stay in Hiroshima. So my high school year, I went to school in Tokyo. Then later went to United States for my education. Because I stayed when I was 10 at the Pearl box office for 6 months, 3 months, and altogether 6 months. I learned so many things from her. That's why I want to go to the United States. I would like to live completely away from Hiroshima. My scholarship will end the end of the, my 4-year college education. I had to go home, but I don't want to go home to the Hiroshima. I have a good idea. I should marry to somebody. So, live in the United States, away from Hiroshima. Nothing to do with Hiroshima. But engagement was called off. It's because my fiance's uncle was a medical doctor. His specialty was how the radiation affected the human being. Cocoa is no good. I had to come home, back to Hiroshima. I was really, didn't know what to do. But when I was young, those teenagers told me, I had a fiance, but it's because of this. I heard a very sad story. I thought At that time, I could understand their feeling. My engagement was called off. I fully, not fully, but I could 70% or 80% of those girls' feeling. My father always told me, Coco, in our neighborhood, you're the only baby who survived from the atomic bomb. That's why we want you to work for peace. We want you to work for Hiroshima. I said, no, not me, because I didn't tell my parents how I went through with ABCC. I had a very hard feeling toward ABCC for a while. But later, when I became adult, one of the doctors said, Miss Tanimoto, all the information which we got from the children of Hiroshima, we sent to the Chernobyl to help children of Chernobyl. When I heard that, I thought I couldn't do anything for the others. But most difficult time in my life experience, I was used by God to help other children. When I heard that, I felt I overcome the most difficult day. But my father still say, Coco, you're the only child in our neighborhood were able to live through. That's why we want you to work for peace. We want you to work for the world. And I always said, no, until he served at Hiroshima Nagareka Church almost 40 years in one church. Last sermon, I listened as a one of church member. He last part of his speech, he said why he was so involved with Hiroshima. He started like this. August 6, 1945. He helped his friends things to bring in the countryside. So if something happened, those household goods were safe. So my father helped this carrying his goods to the Koi mountain. He reached the mountain with his friends. Suddenly, strong wind hit him. He fell down on the ground. He didn't know what's happened. So he slowly got up. He touched the leg. It was okay. And everything okay. What's happening? He really, flew on the ground. Since he was on the mountain, Hiroshima stand on the delta. So from the mountain, he can see the whole Hiroshima city. At that time, in Hiroshima, 7 rivers. When he saw the Hiroshima, fires all over the place, he could not understand what's happened to this. He just wanted to see the church, which stand on the middle of the Hiroshima city. He rushed down, but because of some bridge, some we were broken, so he must make a detour, and took long time to reach to the middle of the city. He heard many people ask for help, help, 1,000, more 1,000, 10,000, 20,000. He tried to help as much as possible, but he could not help every one of them. He said when he was on the mountain, when he saw the city of Hiroshima on fire, first thing came up to his mind was, what's happened to my daughter? What's happened to my wife? What's happened to my church member? What's happened to my neighbors? He said, that was a very egoistic thinking, very self-centered thinking. Everybody asked for help, but I only concerning about my family, my church, my neighbors. That resentment put me into Hiroshima City. To the survivor, Hibakusha of Hiroshima, that resentment put me into that kind of work. When I heard that, boy, he was a business person, but most difficult time of his life, he thought about me. Yes, now I can. I would like to follow your footsteps. I cannot do like you did, but I would like to tell the whole world, especially that, we still have a nuclear weapon. We don't need it. And I do hope we can destroy that. Always in my mind, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God. I cannot do like he did, but I really would like to walk the footstep. Especially nowadays, I give a talk to the young children, elementary school to the graduate student, because they are going to carry the next century. I hope they can make it. 2 years ago, President Obama came to Hiroshima. I felt very happy because many of the Hibakusha who are already, passed, but they really wanted to meet, or they want the President of the United States to be in Hiroshima or Nagasaki. And Obama even showed time, but I'm so glad he stand on the land of the Hiroshima. In his speech, I'm so grateful, but he came to Hiroshima, so many of the Hibakusha whom went through a most difficult time in their life appreciated that President of the United States came to Hiroshima. His speech, I thought it much shorter, but it was a long speech. And NHK BS asked me to be in Hiroshima to tell the whole world that the United States, the President of the United States, came to Hiroshima. I had to tell in the news. So before that, I was listening to his speech. He said, it was a long speech, but I would like to mention about two things. He said, someday the voice of the hibakusha will no longer be with us to hear witness, but the memory of the morning of August 6, 1945, must never fade. Then he said something else. He said, we see these stories in hibakusha. The woman who forgave a pilot who flew the plane that dropped the atomic bomb because she recognized that what she really hated was war itself. Our world is just so beautiful. We have to keep this world peacefully for that next generation, so that next generation can live peacefully. And I know God is looking at us. We are working it, and please help us. Thank you.